Hey guys, Patrick here. Today it's part 3 of my build video. It's the final update on how it all went. You might have seen my 2.5 video where I had to actually clean everything out. And that was not planned. That actually happened, unfortunately, due to Thermaltake C1000 liquid cooling stuff that I had to put in. Well, I put in to my computer and it just didn't go right. The gunk, the crap that was inside wrecked everything and made my computer look like it had literal cancer. It was just terrible, guys. And I suppose there's a lesson to be learned. Like I said in one of my videos, don't use colored liquid. This is the reason why sometimes you get something that is just not quite right. What you see behind me, the liquid that's being used right now, is an EK blend, and the reason I went with it this time was because when I picked up the bottle, there was no gunk at the bottom after sitting on a shelf at a shop. So there's that. So if you haven't seen that video, you can check it in my watched videos. It'll be in there, probably the last video after this. So have a look and just see how much of a mess that was. But today we're looking in what it is now, how it looks, and what I've added and what I had to do to get to this point. Now I'm using the Core P5 Thermaltake case. It is a beautiful case. Building it was an absolute breeze, and actually putting all the parts together was very easy. The only thing I had to drill for was actually the mount for the reservoir and the pump. That was the only drill bit I had to sort of use. Everything else had a spot to fit, and you know what, is quite intuitive. They say it's used for builders, modders and things, and look, using it for now, I think it was quite good. It was easy to work on, that's all I'm gonna say. But, you know, there was a few places where I thought maybe a screw or a hole would be much more intuitive. Mounting the radiator over here was a bit of an odd one. It felt unnatural to be there. I would have hoped for something better, but it fits really well, and from my guess is that it will fit all sorts of radiators down the side, all sorts of sizes, and this is the bigger case, so it can fit up to 4 fans, and I did just check if there's 4 just to make sure. So the next thing is the actual water cooling build. As you can see, the reservoir is mounted a little bit higher. It's a smaller reservoir than most reservoirs, even with the pump. So I had a little bit spare space at the bottom, and I'll get to that in a second. Obviously, we've got the power supply. This is one of those no RPM power supplies where if it's not using much power, if it's not getting overheated, the fan won't run. So it's a super quiet system, even with those 4 fans and the pump. It is super quiet. I'm not sure you can even hear it through the microphone right now, and the microphone's right there. It's really nice. Now, the other thing that I have an issue with an open case is the dust that gets inside. So I have some canned air that I clean it out every so often, more often than I would. And the other thing is coil whine from graphics cards. It can be heard much more. And I suppose the plexiglass is a fingerprint magnet, but overall the whole solid Thermaltake P5 case is pretty good. Like, I'm actually thinking of getting another one of the smaller ones, and doing a smaller build because I enjoyed building in it so much, and it looks absolutely amazing. Now we'll move on to the actual graphics card and motherboard now. The motherboard I chose, Asus Z27G 0G gaming Strix motherboard. Very nice, lots of awesome I/O. It has a Wi-Fi built-in, Bluetooth built-in, and it's just really nice to use. I've had no trouble at all with it. The Corsair RAM in there works beautifully, 32 gigs. I can upgrade to 64 if I ever need to. There's still 2 slots. The graphics card is on a different angle. As you can see, it has a riser and a little mount that sort of fits under. And it's nicely hidden behind the graphics card, so you can't see it as much. You just see that little one going up to the PCI 18 Express lane. What I want to mention is that the one at top is actually 16X PCI 3, and the one at the bottom is 8. Most graphics card probably won't use 8. Even if you go SLI, which this motherboard can do, you will also have to use both, and it'll only go at 8X speed anyway. But I just thought I'd put it in that one just so. Look, you might as well put it in the faster one, even if you're not going to use all that bandwidth. Now, the graphics card is awesome. Look, it's a TI, 1080 Ti, and it runs beautifully. With this water cooling setup, I'm able to overclock both the CPU and the graphics card to, look, I'm pretty sure it's to their limits. If I go any further, it starts crashing, so there's that. But the performance is huge, and you can check out the performance of the CPU in one of my videos. Again, I'll link it in the description that I did a before and after after, so you can see how that went, and if there was a cost per dollar performance value to it, and spoilers, not really. As you can see, my bends aren't the best. They look kind of shoddy, but there is a project upcoming that I'm going to be doing using chrome L-shaped corners, and there's going to be straight pipes only, and that's going to be awesome. That's really cool. It's going to be sponsored by OC Cool, Alpha Cool. So guys, check that out, and I'm going to be taking this apart and starting all over again with completely different water cooling parts. So look out for that. Subscribe. Make sure you watch it because it's going to be so cool. I've never seen so many fittings in my life in front of me, so check that out. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is the actual LEDs, the RGBs that you can see in the background that look like an absolutely cool Christmas tree. They're awesome, guys. You may have seen my Aura video about the 4-pin RGB 50/50 mounts that the motherboard comes with. Absolutely awesome. But you can also see over here, that gap that I was talking about before is actually filled by the Hue NZXT's basically RGB proprietary system. Now, I put it in there because I had it. It wasn't going to go anywhere, and it actually looks quite nice fitting in that gap there. And as you can see, it runs under the bottom here. I can hide it away, and just to the side here. That's the only RGB that the NZXT controls. I do have to use two softwares, which is a bit annoying to try and sync them up, but as you can see, if I chuck it on the color cycle, it looks quite nice, and you know, at night, you know, it looks brilliant, and I'm gonna have some night shots in this video anyway, so I'm sure you've already seen it, but it looks absolutely awesome. I usually keep it on red or a stationary color, so for me, having two softwares isn't too much trouble. I don't sync it to music like you can with the Aura, but there it is. It's working quite nicely. Now, the thing I have to mention about the LEDs, as you can see in the video, I am trying to hide them away from view, so you don't see the direct LED looking at you, and I think it worked pretty well in this case. It's an open case, so it's hard to hide LEDs, but I've hidden them behind here, behind the reservoir, under the actual case, and under this thing, and then under this mount here. So there is some you can see, but I'm trying to hide them, and I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. So guys, this has been the build from my sort of experience. Apart from the issue with the liquid, I think it went absolutely well. I didn't have too many issues with the actual build, and I'm happy to say that everything fits in quite perfectly. Sometimes you find a case where you have to really screw in that screw tightly, or push it, or just kind of squeeze that metal, like with the Corsair 900D. That huge case sometimes just was uneven. I know this is a simpler case, and I guess simpler cases just build much better. Everything worked out really nicely, and well, again, apart from that liquid cooling fiasco. But guys, thank you very much for watching. Thanks for watching this update, and I hope you like some of the B-roll here about how it looks. And if you have any questions, if you need any help building your computer, let me know in the comments. I'll happy to answer it. If any questions how to do something or anything like that, let me know. I'll make a video about it to help you guys. Thanks very much for watching. Subscribe and hit that like button, and I'll see you next time.